the audio is okay. So I have this 3D printed Pokemon cartridge with the Pikachu popping out of it. This is a really cool file. This is by ABC 3D Models. I'll put the link in the description below once the video's finished of the person who does these files. Otherwise, I will just post them to my YouTube channel anyway, you know, the YouTube posts, but this is on my Instagram as well, where you can see where these files are from. So this is the particular one. It's Pikachu coming out of a cartridge. There are some like other ones as well within the range, which is really cool. So if you want to check those out, they're really awesome. There's other ones like Pokemon cards and all sorts of like other cool things as well like that. So there's some other things. Hi Josh, I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. You're the first person to join. I don't know if this is going to work out, but I'm going to keep, you know, trying to upload these now and again. Do some lives, keep me motivated. But yeah, this is a 3D printed Pokemon cartridge with the Pikachu popping out of it. This was printed in grey, so I've primed it in yellow. Thank you, yeah, it does look really cool. There's some other ones within the range. I think they're doing like a Charizard and a Blastoise and some other iconic ones from the classic Pokemon ones. So that's going to be really cool to see. The other one I've printed is a Charizard coming out of a Pokemon card. So this is slightly smaller than it's supposed to be printed, but I just did it as a test print. So this is really cool. So the guy who makes these sent me a couple of the files out, you know, to just paint up and promote for him. But there's a lot of other cool stuff. And he does some like, he's going to be doing some like Warhammer kind of knockoff stuff soon. Of like the Primarchs and things. So I don't know how long those will stay up, you know, due to copyright and stuff like that. So see how he gets on, but it'd be cool to see what he makes like out of those type of things too. So yeah, so it's not too bad of a file to print. Yeah, I can send you one if you want. Just let me know if you want a Pikachu one. I'll send you one. Just send me a message on Instagram to remind me, but if you want me to print you one, I will do. I can send you one out. But yeah, I've just primed this in Sunset Yellow by Colourforge. Really, really good range of paints. These are only really in the UK, unfortunately, so you can only really get these in the UK. But they're really, really good range of spray paints. These are better than like the Games Workshop, you know, Warhammer Citadel spray paints, in my opinion. You get a lot more in them. They are cheaper, but like I said, they're only really based in the UK, so, you know, it's a bit hit and miss whether you can get these, you know, in other countries, but hopefully they do start doing in other countries as well. But yeah, so I primed it in white and then moved over to that Sunset Yellow, so started off with that. It's very warm here in the UK, so, you know, in terms of like spray painting and stuff, it's not the best weather. Thank you, Wayne, who's just said about the channel. Thank you for everyone else who's just popped in as well. So what I'm doing at the moment is this is a 3D printed Pikachu going out of a Game Boy cartridge. I'll put the link in the description below once this video is ended. Otherwise, I'll just post it to my channel in general so you can see where this comes from. And the guy who makes these does a bunch of other cool like 3D printed files. So he does these like Pokemon cards as well. So we've got a Charizard poking out of a Pokemon card as well. So he's got a load of these. Specifically, you know, like the original kind of like 150 Pokemon mainly. But yeah, that's really cool. So we're going to be painting this up today, just having some fun, keeping it kind of simple. Yeah, going to start off with this. So I'm just going to get cracking. So we'll do the cheeks of Pikachu. I assume that most people who paint Warhammer or miniatures like Pokemon or have liked Pokemon when they were younger or still do now, or they like it with the children. I've enjoyed Pokemon since it kind of originally came out, so I was quite young when, you know, the original Pokemon cartoons came out and the original kind of Pokemon games came out. So luckily I managed to play those, watch the cartoon and stuff. I was like obsessed with Pokemon when I was a kid. I still do like it now. I wouldn't say I would have, you know, the same obsession, but obviously, you know, tastes change. But I still have a special place of it in my heart, and I do kind of play the games where I can. I don't currently own like a Switch or anything like that to play them on. My nephew does. My nephew is 6 and he's like obsessed with Pokemon now, which is awesome because I can sneakily kind of play Pokemon on his Switch, so that's really cool. So yeah, I still have a special place in my heart for Pokemon. I think my favourite incarnation of it is the Hoenn region, so Ruby and Sapphire. I had those on the Game Boy Advance, and then I played them on the SP. Definitely my favourite version. Hello there. So yeah, if you've just joined, I'm just painting up a Pikachu coming out of a Pokemon game cartridge. This is 3D printed. So I'm just doing his cheeks here. So I'm just doing a completely different random mix of paints. So I have Pro Acrylic. This is really bright red. So I'm just grabbing this. There's no kind of rhyme or reason with the paints I'm picking. I'm just grabbing whatever's to hand and then thinking, yeah, this will be okay. Oh, that's awesome. You also likes Pokemon. Yeah, Eevee's awesome. I like all the evolutions. I think it's nice when, you know, your children or nieces and nephews and stuff have, you know, similar interests to what you have or interests you can kind of get into together as well. Like I said, my nephew really likes Pokemon. He plays all the games on the Switch. Yeah, he loves it. He has the cards as well. He collects them. He's not really as much into the cards, but has quite a few of them. I think when he's a little bit older, he might want to, you know, play the game of it, which I'm fine to learn. That'd be nice to do together. And I have got in the starter set of the card game, so we'll eventually kind of play that again together. And my nephew and my niece already like painting Warhammer as well with me. When they come round, when I see them, they paint miniatures with me, but it's mainly like a lot of it's knockoff kind of 3D prints. So it's kind of my 3D prints where, you know, something's failed. If a 3D print's failed, they can have it to paint and enjoy painting. And I enjoy painting with them as well. It can get really messy, but it's really nice to kind of share that kind of interest and love of painting and art and nerdy stuff with them. I'm just going to grab another paint. So we have need a brown paint. I have 1,000,001 brown paints, but when I want to find one, it's not right there. What have we got? I do apologise. I should have been a bit more organised with like how I had all my paint set out and stuff before filming this, but there we go. What have we got? I'll do a Dumal Brian. Or what do we have? Rhinoxide. Do Rhinoxide. So I have a bunch of different paints and different paint brands, but quite a lot of my paints I don't get around to using because I do get sent quite a lot of different paint brands to try out as well, which is really nice. But it's getting around to trying them out. I do have a bunch of Citadel Warhammer paints, but obviously these dry up over time if you don't like look after them enough or, you know, decant them into a dropper bottle. So I'm just going to do his little kind of stripes on his back as well. So he has... that's really cool that they were printed on to the miniature as well, which I think is really cool. I don't think the yellow primed paint has dried fully yet, so it's a little bit of weird surface tension, but I couldn't really be bothered. This was kind of a rushed kind of thing, which I just kind of did last minute. Godzilla Gamer, well, how old are you? Because I'm much older than you probably think. Tissue. Oh, I trying to think when things leak on. There we go. So this is very much rushed, and I didn't have like any of my paints together, which I usually have, and I'm usually a lot more organised than this. But this was very, very last minute. So I haven't done YouTube Live properly for a while. I think I've only ever done it once before, actually. And I didn't realise if you do it in this portrait mode over horizontal landscape mode, you actually activate it in YouTube Shorts. So actually more people actually see your work, which is really cool. So you get to see like more of an audience, and random people might just pop in. But obviously at the same time, you leave it open to just random people popping in who you might not want to pop in. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. But thank you, Josh, for actually tuning in and watching and interacting. Because it's not obviously the easiest of landscapes at the moment to post online and to get that traction still. So yeah, this Pokemon cartridge. I never actually played Pokemon Yellow, I don't think. I never owned it myself. I had a few friends that owned it, but I played Pokemon Red. And I had Pokemon Blue, but I don't think I ever had Pokemon Yellow. I still have some of my original cartridges, which is very cool, but I haven't played them for a long time. So it's kind of nice when people assume I'm actually younger than I am. I'm 30 years old, for anyone who's curious. But yeah, so we're gonna do Pikachu's eyes here. By the way, I'm using my wet palette. So I have a wet palette. It's currently absolutely full of different paints because I've been working on different projects, and I've not changed it yet. So just using the same one I had before. So just filling in Pikachu's eyes. Peekapoo's eyes. I could have probably primed this a little bit better and cleaned it up a bit better, but here we are. It's very muggy and warm here in England. The weather keeps changing from, very overcast and raining to very, very warm. So I don't really know what to wear, and I've got my window open currently. I really should probably put a fan on as well. But it's having to find the fan, because obviously you put it somewhere out of the way like you do with Christmas decorations, then you have to go back to remembering where the heck you've actually put the fan. So it will be around somewhere. Should probably get it out at some point. So there's a little bit of pink for Peekapoo's mouth. So I'm just going to get a pink paint and just kind of mix it into the red I have, hopefully. Like I said, I don't know with some of my paints if they're in the best of conditions. I really need to spend like an afternoon, an evening just sorting out my paints, but I have hundreds of paints. So like I said, I'm just grabbing just random paints, which is the hands, which is the easiest thing sometimes. So I have a Bugman's Glow from Citadel. I'm mixing that in with the Pyro Red from Pro Acrylic. So those two are going to be mixed into like a kind of a deep pinky red. And that's going to be Peekapoo's mouth. I'm just going over his mouth as well. I'll do his ears as well. So, with this kind of live video, I'm just focusing more on the details of Pikachu. You know, like the cheeks and everything, fill those out. Bit more visually interesting, and then maybe in the next video I'll focus more on, you know, the shading of the yellow of the cartridge and all that other crap, which is more boring. I'll probably just approach painting the yellow the same way I do my Lamentor Space Marines. I really like the way, though, there's a lot of 3D kind of raised areas on this print, so you kind of have an idea where, you know, everything is, and I think that's awesome. So what else have we got now? Some little bits of his eyes. Oh yeah, and his tail as well is brown, isn't it? Pikachu. So I really like, there's a place called the Pokemon Center in Japan, and it's like a store that sells loads of interesting and kind of unique Pokemon merchandise and stuff like that, and vending machines. I think there's like a restaurant and like a gaming area as well, which I think is very cool. I'd love to go one day. I don't know, I think there's one in London, but it's just more of a store than anything else. I do actually have a Pikachu from there, because I think I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do like a Pikachu of the month. So it'd be like Pikachu in different outfits and stuff like that. And I do have one. It's a Pikachu in a Charizard hoodie. But I did give that to my nephew, which I kind of regret in one way, but I think he really appreciated it. So what's everyone's favorite Pokemon game? If you do play Pokemon games or have played them, what's your favorite generation? What's your favorite kind of era? What got you into it? Are you one of the people who was into the original 150, or did you get in later in the game, or have you got a later edition you like? If you've played it or played it with your children, or if you're a little bit younger, is that the edition you got into? As I said before, my favourite, I don't know if everybody heard before, but my favourite is the Hoenn region. So like Ruby and Sapphire is one of the favourites of mine. Even though I do remember like the original 150, I still really do like the Hoenn region one. For real. So, do a bit more on Pikachu. Do some eyes. Going to do the pupils of his eyes. So I have Screaming Skull from Citadel here. So we're gonna fill in these pupils. I have my Artist Opus brushes. Artist Opus is a really nice brand. You don't necessarily need expensive brushes to paint really nice miniatures or really nice projects. But I've been lucky enough to have been sent a set of Artist Opus brushes to review, and then I won a set, and I have another set as well. So they're really nice type of brushes to get into. Don't obviously have to buy them because they are very, very similar to Rosemary & Co. They're pretty much like a rip-off of Rosemary & Co. in some ways, but yeah, they are still really nice brushes if you want to, get into detailed painting. And they come in a really nice box, so, it's always nice. I am just painting up a Pikachu in a gaming cartridge, which I've 3D printed. So it looks very cool. So, I think we're getting there with the details on Pikachu. I'm just going to kind of add some shading and some shadows and stuff. So we've got his mouth. So I'm just going to add some darker red here. And like I said at the end, if anyone wants to know where these guys are from, I will make a post on my YouTube afterwards. So if you want to subscribe to me and follow me, I will be posting where I got this file from and where I 3D printed it from, basically. So, yeah, we're getting there. It's not too bad of a model, really. It's actually quite straightforward miniature to paint. It's a bit of a change from my usual, like, Warhammer type stuff. Yeah, let's do the lighting, do the yellow. Actually, I might get more of this done than I think in the time we've got. Yeah, I don't think it's going to probably take as long as I thought, this miniature. So, I've just got a Euro yellow from Citadel. And I'm just going to kind of go over everything and just add some more detail. Not realising there's still a 3D print support there, which doesn't help, but there we go. Yeah, so there's the lightning coming out of it. So much detail on this print. I think it's awesome. Really, really cool. So yeah, we're going to get there. So I'm not sure what to do, really. I'm not sure whether to keep this kind of all the same kind of shade of yellow or do some different kind of shades of yellow. I'll change it up a little bit. I'll probably change it up a little bit because obviously the lightning, I want that to stand out. So I'm just going to make the lightning yellow brighter. And I can't remember the cartridge itself, whether the cartridge is a lighter shade of yellow or not. So I'm gonna have a look at that actually online. So let's have a look at the original cartridge. Pokemon. Yeah, so that should be a lighter shade of yellow as well. So I'll keep painting it. I just have the Pokemon theme song like stuck in my head as well now. But yeah, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. I also really love the Pokemon rap as well. The Pokemon rap was always super fun. Pokemon Master is my destiny. I might as well paint the yellow over the top of it as well. This is going to look cute. Just painted up my Pikachu 3D printed gaming cartridge. This is a really cool piece, which I've 3D printed. So yeah, I'm just painting it up. I've got some Uriel yellow here from Citadel, so these are like Warhammer type paints. And I'm just kind of going over the yellow, which I've already primed. And I'm just kind of going over the top of this. I should probably use my airbrush, but honestly I can't be arsed, so here we are. I don't know how successful or popular, you know, streaming is going to be on here. I know people do pop in and out, so if anybody does pop in and out, thank you. It's not the easiest of things to try and get people to watch you online these days, especially on YouTube. So I'm just going to try and keep posting on here on YouTube Live. Just going to paint up some miniatures, paint up some Warhammer, paint up some different things that I've 3D printed and have some fun with it. See how we get on. And I really like this 3D print. I really should get some more of these. I might do a Charizard one at some point as well. There's a Blastoise one. And yeah, there's quite a lot of the original 150 Pokemon available in this range. So it's going to be very, very cool to paint up. And it's just a nice change from my like usual Warhammer kind of stuff, which I paint up. So yeah, it's a really nice change. And just kind of nice to relax and just paint something quite easy for once and not have to think about it too much. And obviously this is quite easier to kind of see visually on video, because sometimes when you're painting like very small miniatures, like Warhammer type miniatures and Dungeons and Dragons stuff, it's kind of harder to see on camera, and then you have to zoom in and stuff. Where this is quite a sizable kind of chunky miniature where we can actually see all the details and stuff on it quite easily. So that's a nice bonus. And obviously it's quite a stressful time here in the UK with all the riots and stuff going on. So I'm trying to distract myself slightly and just paint up some Pokemon stuff. I hope everyone else is okay who does tuning at any point, even for a brief moment. It's kind of cool. I'm getting a bit more traction from just painting online. Yellow's a pain in the ass to paint, by the way, because yellow's quite transparent. And like I said, I probably should have used an airbrush to do the next layer, but my airbrush is in bits because I've been cleaning it, because airbrushes are cool, but they're a pain in the backside too, because you have to keep up with cleaning them, otherwise they clog or mess up your miniatures. Probably have to do my Pikachu in a few different layers so it doesn't like absolutely get ruined. Like the warm weather, this humidity is just not the best for when you're painting, because your wet palette gets ruined, and then having to like prime your miniatures isn't the nicest thing. So it's not too bad tonight. It's warm, but it's not too bad, the weather. There's lots and lots and lots of yellow, which is kind of a pain in the backside. Like I said, yellow's not the nicest of colours to always paint, but I don't mind painting it. And like I said, if anybody wants this file, this is a 3D printed file, so if you do want this file, I'll put the link on my YouTube once this is finished, on a YouTube post where you can get this file from if you have a 3D printer, or you want to get a 3D printed version of this. And like I said, there's a bunch of other versions and different things from this creator. So he does like other things, like he does these 3D printable Pokemon cards. So this is Charizard coming out of the Pokemon card as well. So that's very cool. So yeah, it's a really cool creator. And it's a nice palette cleanser for me, because like I said, I do tend to paint up a lot of Warhammer and a lot of like smaller miniatures or more detailed things, and this is just like a fun, cool project to do. And like I say, if you're into painting miniatures and stuff, it's always nice to have just a really quick, easy project to paint up. Sometimes you don't have to think about too much, and you just kind of go with it and have some fun with it, and not have to stress out too much about it. And that's what I love about having a 3D printer as well. You can just print a load of miniatures off and not have to think about it too much. You can just print another one if you kind of mess it up. I should have probably spray painted all of this yellow first, but here we are. So I'm just gonna dry this slightly. So I'm just gonna be using my hairdryer. So there will be a bit of a noise, but I'm just gonna dry this first layer. There's my Pikachu. which I'm painting. So a really quick tip if you're into painting miniatures or models or stuff like that, like hairdryer can save you a lot of time. There we go. That's the first layer of yellow done. Got another layer of yellow done. Another layer done of that yellow. That finally downloaded. Being a bit of a dick. Pokemon Master is my destiny. So just painted up my Pokemon cartridge here, which is a 3D print, which I've done. Just got a Pikachu coming out of the Pokemon cartridge. And like I said before, if you subscribe to me, I will post where this file is from. And if you want to 3D print it for yourself. So yeah, it's just Pikachu coming out of a cartridge. There's some other ones as well, which this guy does, which are really cool. And I'm just painting it up at the moment. And yellow's not the easiest colour in the world to paint up. Ah, thank you for posting about that. Yeah, I'm going to try and kind of post more on here, hopefully. Because YouTube's kind of more sustainable in terms of getting people to watch you and things like that compared to like Instagram. Oh yeah, thank you for tuning in. I do like your work as well. It's always a good community, the Warhammer community for sure. I really like the people involved with it. And obviously there are some like crappy incel type people. But most people are pretty chill, and obviously a lot of inspiration, a lot of cool people who do it, and I've made a lot of friends out of like the Warhammer community, which has always been, you know, one of the biggest bonuses out of it. I can get a lot of inspiration. But I always think it's cool to paint things outside of your comfort zone sometimes, and, you know, paint things which aren't necessarily Warhammer, but just some fun models like this. I know a lot of people that just paint stuff up like this for fun as well. I think it's always good to have like multiple projects on the go as well, not just, you know, if you've got a stressful project, a big miniature, and you think, oh god, this is like painful to paint, it's always good to have some other things which is just fun and easy to paint. You don't have to think about too much. Like I'm painting this guy up. For me, this is easy because I'm working on quite a important kind of project at the moment. I'm working on competition miniature, so this is like a Necromunda one, and this has kind of been taking up a lot of my time. So this is something I've sculpted myself, so this has taken up a lot of my kind of time and effort lately in the miniature, which goes on top of this. So it is nice just to have something, you know, a little bit more fun, a bit more easy. I don't have to think about too much. I'm just going to be using the hairdryer. Like I said, hairdryers are great if you want to just dry your miniatures quickly. It's not always the best thing sometimes if you want to have, you know, cleaner lines on your miniatures, but it can be helpful. You put it on a, you know, a very low setting. Put your hairdryer in a very low setting and keep moving the miniature around when you're drying it, and you shouldn't have as much of a problem. So yeah, just really low heat, just kind of around your miniature. But yeah, just save you a load of time if you use a hairdryer. But like I said, you just have to make sure if you're using the hairdryer, the miniature's quite a bit of a distance away from, you know, what you're painting. It doesn't actually melt it. But yeah, it can help out a lot, to be honest. So I'm gonna, I don't know what to shade this with, probably some orange. I just had some random orange on my wet palette. So I've got my wet palette here, and it's looking a little bit messy at the moment. I've just got some random paint on there. So I happen to have some orange. So I might as well start shading this with maybe some orange. I haven't played any of like the newer Pokemon games, but my like I said, my nephew has. So I've kind of had a little bit of a go with those, with him playing it. I still do play video games though. I play a lot of Xbox One, or Xbox One XS, or whatever the heck they're called these days. There's so many different like editions of Xboxes, but I'm able to run Baldur's Gate 3, so that's the main thing for me. So that's the version I have. And I don't play a lot of online like competitive games anymore. If anything, now and again I'll play like Fortnite with my friend, or like Gears of War online. But mainly I just play solo games. I do like achievement hunting on Xbox. I'm kind of getting close to like 700,000 game score on Xbox. I'm not like obsessed with gamer score. I know some people who have like millions of gamer score, but I just kind of take my own time with it. I'm up to like 700,000, but I have been playing Xbox like online. Oh, I've been playing Xbox since the original Xbox, but I've been playing Xbox since, you know, the original gamer scores were a thing as well. So I've accumulated quite a lot of gamer score in my time. And I do like achievement hunting now and again. I do like getting some achievements, or some easier games, or what they call baby games, and getting some achievements that way too. Yeah, I'm just adding some shadows to my Pikachu cartridge here. I don't know, I just went with orange. I could probably go with like a sepia tone, you know, like a browny yellow colour, but I'll go with orange. We'll see how we get on with it. Orange is always kind of like the easier way to shade, isn't it? I'm going to kind of do this in a painterly kind of way and just have it not super neat, just kind of fun. I might do another one and do it a lot cleaner and use my airbrush and stuff, but like I said, I'm just having some fun painting this up today. I'm not overly thinking about it, because sometimes those are the best projects where you don't have to overthink them or go into them too much, and you just have some fun with them. Yeah, I'm just going to shade it with the orange, see how we get on. I'm not overly bothered about brush strokes. I'm going to try and keep it neat, but I'm not overly bothered if something goes a little bit AY, if some paint bleeds into the other paint. I think sometimes as painters, especially miniature painters, we get too obsessed with neatness and, you know, thin paints and stuff, instead of actually just enjoying the process and just taking the time and having fun with, you know, how you paint your miniatures and how you enjoy your art. Sometimes you just want to relax and not think about it too much. And everyone's quite unique in the way they want to paint the miniatures, but, you know, that's completely up to you how you want to kind of approach that. So we're kind of getting there with him. Do Pikachu himself. Do some shading on the Pikachu himself. I'm not sure why I call him Pikachu. That's just kind of my fun nickname for Pikachu. 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 Usually I listen to music or, you know, watch films, especially horror films when I'm painting, but obviously for copyright and streaming online, I'm very conscious, especially on YouTube, for being flagged for copyright. So I might eventually just get some royalty-free background music and just have that on perhaps at some point, just to kind of break up the monotony of painting. Because I'm one of these people, I like to have a lot of background noise and distraction whilst I'm doing one of my main things. So, you know, maybe eventually I'll get some royalty-free music and enjoy that in the backdrop as well. I'll see if any other creators want to kind of join in. Pikachu. Mm-hmm. I completely forgot about Pikachu's nose as well. What is his new? His nose isn't usually that big, is it? More of a brown. He has like a brown nose. Because Pikachu is a brown noser. There we go. There's his nose. Completely forgot about his nose. Got a brown nose, so he's definitely a brown noser, isn't he? Getting into it, getting there. Oh yeah, getting there. Just make sure my there we go. What are we on? Ugh. Honestly, it's taking so bloody long to download. Peekaboo, peekaboo, boo, boo, boo. Catch them is my real test. To train them is my goal. Pokemon. Having loads of fun painting this up. It's like such a fun thing to paint up. Like I said, I'm not overly thinking it or anything. It's just painting it. Catch them is my real test. To train them is my goal. Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. Oh, I really should have probably painted the next layer of yellow with my airbrush, so less brush strokes. But it will be right. We'll be fine. We'll get there. Yellow's not a fun colour to paint. Personally, I like the colour yellow. I like mustard yellows as well. Probably taking twice as long. Like I said, it would have been so much easier to just paint this with an airbrush. Do this next layer with my airbrush. But no, I had to be stubborn and say, no, I'll get the next yellow done with a brush. I should probably use a bigger brush, actually, but instead of my nice, posh brushes. Honestly, though, you have that habit if you have, like, nice, expensive brushes that you don't want to use them and then never actually use them. But I think it's good to have, like, a mix of expensive and cheap brushes, which I do have. I mean, considering this is quite an expensive brush, but it's, like, quite ruined now. But I've had it a long time. Gotta get your mind. So yeah, I really want to put like some Pokemon songs on in the background. I wonder if there's anybody that does any like Pokemon background music inspired stuff, but is royalty free. I could probably put in the background for maybe some future videos if I'm painting something up like this. I'll have to have a look. Like I said, this was very much like an impromptu stream where I just went, I'm going to stream on YouTube just to see how it goes, see what stats I get, see, you know, how it turns out, because trying to post videos on YouTube at the moment is a pain in the ass, to be quite frank. You know, I used to get quite decent kind of viewing and then just gradually has eroded. And I think maybe it's YouTube Shorts or, you know, the massive kind of oversaturation of, you know, people posting. I really don't know, but we'll try keep posting YouTube live, see how we get on. Alright, hairdryer time. I wanna be the very best. Woo-hoo, no one ever was. Dum, 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 dum. Just getting there. Pikachu is getting there. Just getting there with this Pikachu cartridge. Just takes time because it's yellow. Now I had to pick the yellow one first, didn't I? You know, I do enjoy painting yellow. I kind of have to plan out painting yellow a bit better than this. But you know what? I'm just going to include the brush strokes and make it a bit more painterly and a bit more fun looking. A bit more artsy, I guess. Oh, so much painting yellow. So much bloody yellow. I know I was going to kind of talk about the rights and stuff in this video, but I'm just too mentally exhausted. And nobody's really said much about it in chat, so we'll just keep going. I might talk about it again at a later date, probably the next stream, but I'm just too mentally and emotionally exhausted. It's just nice to paint up something like this, which is quite fun and quite straightforward, to be honest. I might get a darker orange, or maybe we'll get some washes. Oh, what washes have I got? Egg racks. Nah. What else have we got? Get some browns. Dimble brown would probably be pretty good. Scrag brown. Oh, we'll get some Dimble brown. Really like Dimble brown. Really nice warm brown colour from Citadel. Do the nice Warhammer paints. Go around the side of this. Get some deeper shadows. I'm really thirsty as well now. Just create some deeper shadows. Just into the ridges and stuff, just to kind of accentuate the miniature. Well, I keep saying miniature. I don't know even what I would call this. It's I don't know what I would call this. Sculpture? Sculpt? I don't know. I don't know what anyone would really call this type of thing. Oh Christ, this is quite a messy miniature, but you know, it's a lot of fun to paint. Like I said, next time I'll if I paint another one of these up, I'll probably make sure it's a lot cleaner and the base coats are a lot cleaner. But we'll just have some fun and make it a bit more painted up. Just adding some shadows and some detail to Pikachu. Oh god, it looks like he's got bags under his eyes now. I might have made those a bit too deep. Anyway, doesn't matter. Just painting up my Pikachu 3D print, which I've done. I'm getting there with him. We're getting there. I'm just adding some details and stuff. I'm just using some Dimble Brown here from Citadel. So the Warhammer type paints. And I'm just adding some shadows and making the details a little bit deeper and a little bit more prominent kind of thing. I'm not being the minutest of painting. I'm just having some fun with this. Start with the easiest things to paint when you're filming at the same time, because you have to be like aware of where your hands are and stuff, and you have to be kind of aware of what people who are watching can see. Just kind of getting used to that. Just kind of pushing the details and stuff on this. I don't really know what the end goal is, really. I'm just gonna keep adding as much detail as I can till I get bored of painting it. I probably will do some more, you know, paint another one, because I say this is a 3D print, so I'm not just limited to the one that I have in front of me. So I might do another one or another couple, you know, a bit neater. Or if, you know, anybody wants any painting of these. But for now, I'm just painting this up for fun and not overly thinking about how precise or how, you know, neat I am with it. Just having some fun with it. And, you know, if you, as I've said before, if you're not somebody who's subscribed to me, if you subscribe, I will be posting where I got this 3D print from and the guy who makes them. Well, the guy who does the 3D sculpts of them, and where you can get these. Obviously, this isn't my design. This is someone else's design, and I've just 3D printed it. But I'm painting it up. And I don't just paint up, you know, things like this. I paint up Warhammer and all sorts of different things. And I paint up terrain. And yeah, I just really like painting stuff. Miniatures. And you don't have to be the best painter in the world to enjoy it. You know, sometimes it's just fun to have some easy projects to do like this. I think we get too caught up in it, and I've said it before about being too neat or overly precise when it comes to painting miniatures and doing your art. You should just have fun with it sometimes and just not overthink it. Just play around with it. So we're getting there with Pikachu. We'll do the lightning. Thunderbolt of lightning, very, very frightening. Galileo, Figaro. Got Ice Yellow from AK Interactive. So AK Interactive are really, really good paint brands. If you're somebody that mainly has Warhammer paints like Citadel or Vallejo paints, whatever like that, AK Interactive I think are one of like the best paint brands out there for miniature painting and scale model painting. They've been going a very, very long time, but they do some of like the best paints I can probably recommend. They do a load of like really, really cool like sets and stuff like that. So I have a load of the paints at the moment actually. But yeah, I've been really enjoying painting with the paints at the moment. But they do like a load of cool sets as well. Like I have this set, it's called Rust. And this is like all yellows and browns and oranges and like ready kind of rust colours, and yeah, they do like really nice colours. Like, so this is like the rust set, most of it. So yeah, they do like little sets like this, and they're really, really good. Well, yeah, I really like painting with those, with the paints. So I'm gonna be adding the ice yellow. Ice yellow is a really nice colour. It's like a really, really pale, off-white kind of yellow colour. So here it is on my palette. My palette is an absolute atrocious mess at the moment because I've not cleaned it out yet and I just have loads of paints. But here's that yellow. So that's the ice yellow. And it's a lovely, lovely colour because it's like an off-white kind of yellow colour. And, you know, if you're like highlighting a miniature or you're painting something, so instead of adding like pure white to it, you could add like a nice yellow to it and it will work better. Because white tends to desaturate colours, so it looks a bit more washed out. It doesn't look as good. It can look a little bit chalky. So like you can add that colour to like anything you want to. Actually, you could add it to blue, you could add it to red, you could add it to orange, you could add it to purple, and it'll look really good. Better than, you know, if you added white to it, or like any other off-white's really good as well. So you know, if you Screaming Skull as well is really, really good colour. Like beiges and like greys and stuff can be fantastic. Yeah, you don't have to just highlight with whites, painting pure whites. Yeah, adding things like this can help out like absolutely loads in those terms. But that's the cool thing with painting. There's so many different kind of combinations and options, and it's all about finding what you personally like to paint and playing around with it. Because I've kind of said before, you don't have to stick to the heavy metal way or a particular way, or, you know, the Duncan Rhodes way of painting. Find out for yourself what works for you and what you enjoy painting. So what I've basically done is I've added the ice yellow to a little bit of that Uriel yellow. Warhammer paints or Citadel, they do a lot of really nice yellows. I know a lot of people kind of slag off Citadel, but they still do quite a lot of nice paints, I do think, in my opinion. It's still worth getting some of the paints. I'll keep using them. Oh, Tits But Paints on models. Tis But Paints. I cannot read today, my brain's gone. Hello, yeah. It is a really cool model. If you probably saw on my Instagram, I posted about it where you can get it from the STL file. It's a really cool model. There's a couple different ones, I think, of different Pokemon coming out of the cartridges and stuff, and like Pokemon coming out of like the cards and things. So I had like the Charizard coming out of the Pokemon card as well. So yeah, these are really cool. It's just a fun, quick and easy quick and easy-ish project, just to kind of switch my brain off and not have to think about it too much, because sometimes I think painting can be a little bit stressful, so it's nice to sometimes just work on an easy project. Yes, the ice yellow is brilliant for highlighting. It's a really, really nice colour. I use it quite a lot. I mean, it's not just AK Interactive who do ice yellow. A lot of different brands do a similar kind of shade. And it's not just like ice yellow, like there's a bunch of other really cool off-white colours and very, very pale blues and stuff you can use to highlight instead. So there's like lightning around this. The Squirtle cards look really good as well, don't they? The Blastoise ones look cool. I hope he does some more. He's done like a couple more like obscure Pokemon, but it's mainly like the 150 that he's done. Yeah, I hope he does some more. I hope he does the Eevee evolutions. That would be very cool, because I know a lot of people who do like Eevee and the Eevee evolutions. So that would be cool. And the cards have so this is a slightly scaled down version of the card, but they have like a little like hook on the back for like hanging up and stuff. So these would be cool for like decoration. Excuse the kind of bumps and lumps on these. I printed these out really quickly and didn't like have much time to kind of clean them up as much as I probably wanted to. Do you have a 3D printer, by the way? Or not? I can't remember if you do. I apologise if you've already kind of posted that you do or you don't. I have a brain like a sieve sometimes. But if you don't have a printer, just drop me a message about printing them. $10K something majiggy. That kind of like feels what it's like with 3D printers at the moment. There's so many different like versions and different like settings and stuff. They're basically like 3D printing majiggies, basically. I really want to get a 3 scanner so you can like actually scan in copies of stuff and then you can print them out afterwards. I've been trying to like get in contact with some companies to be cheeky so I don't actually have to, you know, buy one. I've seen some other people use one. Like Encounter Terrain has one or two. And he's like scanned in people's faces and he's like made them smaller. And like had them on people's as like Space Marines. I think it's really cool. And then I've seen other people who 3D scan like Warhammer models, then printed them off as like really cool proxies. Obviously, those files tend to disappear quite quickly online, but I've got quite a few. And they're good as well having these like proxy files because it's nice to have them to just practice on. Oh, the marine busts. Yeah. I've got all the Primarchs, and then I have a couple like Space Marine ones. I've got loads of stuff, loads of files. There's things like on my Ko-fi I have, and then I have other things. I need to really sort it out properly and get like a proper website. I just brain fog and all that shit. I need to go to more model shows like Fem Model Show and different places like that. To be honest. And I really like the fact all these kind of model shows are doing more of like I've said it before, like the European style of painting competitions where somebody turns up and they show like their entire collection in one like place, which I really like, and like the fact that having like different categories and journeyman or standard, and then having like a masters category as well. I think that's great. And on top of that, having different things like best in show and some really, really cool different categories. It'd be nice to go to more of those and like showcase more of my entire collection of stuff, because like I said, I don't just paint Warhammer. I paint quite a lot of different stuff and busts and things. So I have some cool ideas for like next year for these model shows. One thing I would really like to paint. Yeah, the South Wales one. That's kind of taking my fancy. Is it Diddycon? That's definitely taking my fancy. And I am going to Golden Demon in October. I don't know why, just cost. But yeah, Diddycon sounds good. And the Fem Model Show and like Salou, and there's Miniature Painting Open. There's loads of cool stuff. Even just in the UK now. I have like an idea for something I really would like to do, which is I was sent if you remember Fallout 3, it came with like a collector's edition tin. And it was like a lunchbox collector's edition tin. And that tin, I would like to do a diorama inside of it, like a Fallout diorama. Monty Sand sounds amazing. Just like the amount of like inspiration and the people you can talk to and stuff, and just going around the city. It's funny, like, there was always a stereotype of like miniature painting and stuff being like these neckbeard types, but the more I see it, the more I see these professional painters. They're all like these really like elegant, like European kind of painters who are like conventionally good looking and like really articulate, and you think like this is really cool. It's always seen as these like basement dwelling like incels, but it's actually quite a cool thing to think about. Like a lot of the big painters, quite a lot of them are quite cool people, like really artsy kind of people, and quite a lot of them are nice to talk to and just chat to and get inspired by. Besides Mamacon Paints, because Mamacon Paints can just go and fuck himself, but hardly anyone will turn into this stream, so here we are. I'm just kind of using the mix of Uriel Yellow and the Ice Yellow and just kind of highlighting Pikachu's face. Like I said, I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm just not really bothered about brush strokes or anything. I'm just having fun with this. Yeah, that tends to be the case, doesn't it? Arty people. Passionate people, I think. And I do have to say, just in general, I've met a really lot of cool people from the community. People who I generally consider friends or nice acquaintances and stuff. And a lot of people I would like to, eventually meet up with. Hopefully more at conventions. A couple of them I've met up with already. Because by and large, most people are pretty chill and they're not like douchebags. Even though you do get some douchebags, but most people are okay. Yeah, there's a lot of passion with people, and just seeing like the complete different array of different things people paint and sculpt and make, and there's like a really cool like necromunda community of people who make all these cool post-apocalyptic kind of necromunda stuff, and there's people that create these really elaborate kind of sculptures out of miniatures and do like shadow boxes out of things and paint them in frames, and then you have these really artsy people who do all the busts and stuff, and then people who have very interesting and kind of unique styles like Qatar and people like that, and people who don't even paint like Warhammer, like people like Julie Werra who do like absolutely insane like historical stuff. It's such a wide reaching kind of hobby beyond like just Warhammer stuff. Thank you for just tuning in and talking whilst I paint. Like I said, I want to do more of these where I just kind of stream and paint and have fun with it. Yeah, I think quite a lot of people kind of get into it through Warhammer and then branch out most of the time. Thank you. Yeah, I like your stuff too, and like I said, I like the fact you don't like paint Warhammer or the same thing. And it's always nice when to meet other people, especially people that aren't just dudes as well, because most of my friends throughout the years who've painted Warhammer have always been men. So it's nice when I meet other women or non-binary people, or I've actually surprisingly I met a lot of trans women who paint Warhammer. Somebody else pointed that out to me as well. Like there's quite a lot of transgender women who paint Warhammer. So I always think it's really cool. Graham said painting because of GW Lord of the Rings, then D&D got me hooked for. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings Games Workshop stuff's really nice. I used to have some of the Lord of the Rings stuff. The D&D side of things has really picked up recently. There's a lot more nicer D&D miniatures, like the WizKid ones, and some really nice ones actually. It's really nice as well because all this 3D printing as well. And even if you don't own a 3D printer, you can like buy, some 3D printed stuff and get some really nice like fantasy miniatures and figures and stuff. It's such a great time to be in the hobby or start in the hobby because there's so many different ways to get a hold of miniatures. You can get brand new ones, second-hand miniatures. You can get, you know, sculpted ones and 3D printed ones. It's such a nice hobby to be a part of because it kind of transcends a lot of different genres as well. You know, people get into Warhammer and then Dungeons and Dragons, so role playing, and then you have things like this, you know, for people who don't necessarily play tabletop games, but you know, they like Pokemon, or they like you know, different kind of franchises, because there's quite a lot of Marvel busts and Marvel like sculpts and stuff out there at the moment, isn't there? There's like, so if you like X-Men or you like, you know, Deadpool and stuff like that, there's loads of really cool like sculpts you can get, or you can 3D print and paint those up, because I know quite a lot of people who paint like these big, really cool, elaborate like Marvel and DC busts, like Batman busts and stuff like that. And you know, they don't necessarily paint Warhammer, but they obviously, we have a mutual kind of appreciation that we both paint up the same things. So yeah, it's a really nice hobby. It's relaxing. It can be stressful sometimes, especially when you want to kind of push yourself a bit more, and it's maybe an expensive miniature you bought or printed, and you want to get it just right. But sometimes it's fun to just paint stuff up super easy and not think about it too much. And I always recommend that to people. Have a couple different projects on the go. Not to the extent where it becomes overwhelming, but you know, you might have a main project that's quite a complicated thing. If you're working on something that's quite stressful, just have something easy to fall back on sometimes, just to paint up, just so you keep painting, because that's the problem. I think a lot of people don't, you know, they get or they don't get that, even though this is a creative hobby and it can be relaxing, it can also be very stressful. You know, when you want to learn a new technique, or you want to start painting a bit better, and then you get really stuck and you get in a rut, and then you don't paint for months and months then sometimes, or weeks. So it's always nice to have that little easy project to kind of fall back on, so you keep pushing yourself to paint, even though you might not be as much in the mood, you know, because of that main project. So it's nice to have something simple and easy like this, not to think about too much, not to stress out about too much. I always say to people, not everything you paint has to be to the best of your ability. It can just be something fun. And if you just keep painting and just gradually keep learning little bits of new techniques here and there, or trying out new paints you've never tried before, or painting a miniature you've never painted before, and just pushing yourself a little bit each time and having fun with it, you'll become much better than you think. Because if you overthink it all the time, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to be as good of a painter, I think, as you could be. Don't stress yourself out too much with it. And don't compare yourself to other people. Fuck other people. Get inspired by them and talk to them about it, but at the end of the day, it's your project, it's your miniature. Right, I'm gonna probably leave it there today. We're getting there. It's a little bit messy, a little bit all over the place, some of the painting, but like I said, it's just a fun project. I'm not overthinking it. I'm not stressing out too much about it. Thank you to everyone who has joined in over the hour and 20 minutes I've been painting. I didn't even not realize I was painting for an hour and 20 minutes, but the time kind of goes without you thinking about it. Yeah, so I might do another video tomorrow, just finishing it off, do some finishing touches, you know, some edge highlights or whatever. As I always say, thank you for watching. Remember to enjoy your hobbies for yourself. Respect the people who enjoy them in their own ways. And at the end of the day, they're just war dollies. So I will see you in the next one. And thank you for tuning in and watching. It means a lot, because obviously it is difficult sometimes to get any traction online. So enjoy your hobbies and keep painting.